Residents of Lark Harbour are continuing the cleanup process today after a windstorm caused extensive damage throughout that Bay of Islands community late last week. NTV's Don Bradshaw has more.
Throughout many parts of Lark Harbour, the evidence of just how strong the winds were here late last week is clear. One home was completely destroyed. Others sustained varying levels of damage as hurricane-force wind gusts last Friday carved a path of destruction through this South Shore Bay of Islands town.
You asked any old-timer that was here? They've been here for 7 years, and the worst they ever felt.
Paul McDonald is the chief of the volunteer fire department for Lark Harbour. He says at the peak of the gusts, it was dangerous for anyone caught outside, leaving many helpless to secure their homes and property.
There was stuff flying up the road, lobster traps, sticks, shingles, siding. It was pretty bad.
When the winds subsided by mid-afternoon, the 700 or so residents here were finally able to assess the damage, and it was extensive. Large fishing vessels overturned along the shoreline. A tractor-trailer and a pickup truck towing a travel trailer, both unable to hold up against the force of the gale. This shed adjacent to the school and community playground reduced to a pile of debris. A number of homes here also felt the brunt of the storm, from the loss of shingles and siding to decking and eaves sheared off completely. The most extensive damage was to this single-story dwelling on a hillside overlooking the harbour, the wind tearing the roof completely off, tossing it in a wooded area about 50 meters away. 2 residents were home at the time but received only minor injuries. However, the family dog died when it was caught under a brick chimney that collapsed.
We had just the house just on the road there blew down, and we couldn't get near it because of stuff flying around, rocks and 2x4, and I went on top of the hill there, tried to get down there, and I seen 2 pieces of 2x4 come at me and just missed the truck, right? And I said, no, you take your own life in danger, right?
With its location on the shores of the ocean, Lark Harbour is no stranger to high winds. But many here say the force that caused this level of destruction is unlike anything in recent memory.
My mom used to tell me about the crazy southeasters they used to have back in the 50s and 60s and 70s and stuff, and I was born in 76, and I can remember a few. And they said it wasn't like that, just the hardest they ever felt, so I don't know if it was just a freak of nature to come in or what?
It's much too soon to put a dollar value on the total amount of damage done throughout this community, but in all likelihood it will be quite some time before the cleanup process here is complete. For NTV News, Don Bradshaw, Lark Harbour.
And communities on the Northern Peninsula are literally picking up the pieces from last week's winter storm. And for one man, it is like picking up what's left from his family's heritage and a boat made famous by reality TV. NTV's Leila Baudouin reports.
Port Saunders Harbour is well sheltered and renowned for being calm, but the storm that ripped through this area on Friday took some of the safety out of this well-known haven.
I guess you could call it next to a natural disaster the way I looked at it. It was a very, very high tide. The storm surge. I guess the wind was a lot stronger than anybody expected it.
Conway Caines, the star of hit series Saltwater Cowboys, was hit hard when his lifelong boat, made famous on the show, went aground.
Never ever figured right there in the harbour, in what we call Caines' Point there, where my wharf is at, is pretty much one of the most sheltered places in the harbour. And it didn't mean too much that day.
It's gonna beat the skid off her there in piece of cliff.
Caines said he watched as his dragger tossed about in the wind. He attempted to secure the boat, but was no match for the storm surge.
She done her duty. She worked. She caught a lot of fish, and it's just it's a sin to see a boat. Such a boat too. There was nothing wrong with it. The boat was structurally sound. And she washed up on the beach, and I would like to have got her off, but now we got another storm coming tomorrow, and I have no other choice. I have to haul the boat up on the beach today with a loader or excavator and try to get her hauled in.
The Sea-Deuce fiberglass was scuffed out on the bottom. Conway says he won't know if the engine works until the boat's pulled out of this. Along the harbour, wharves, sheds, and storefronts were also severely damaged by the giant waves and wind.
Washing wharfs away, it was a sight that I don't really want to see anymore.
More strong